Okay, for those of you who are on the call, welcome, welcome. I just a check. Can you all see the Middle Tennessee State University stone picture? Is everybody
Yes.
on the right one?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great. So, and another just a housekeeping thing, we are going to put the chat up. If you have questions, we're asking you to put them in the chat. Okay, so we're not going to be answering questions throughout the webinar. If you put a question in the chat, it will not be answered in the chat. We are going to save all of the questions for at the end of the webinar so everybody has the answers and everybody can get the same benefits from the questions that are put in the chat. All right, so be patient because sometimes these webinars get kind of long. If you have personal questions, please email us. I am not going to respond on what's going on with my application or where's my I-20, when I want to get a my I-20. I'm not going to respond to those questions. Those questions need to be emailed to us through our email. Okay, this webinar is very general, it's for everybody. We're going to talk about the visa process. So we're also going to start with a little bit of the immigration. All right, so without further ado, we are going to start. Okay, there we go. All right, so some of these documents look familiar to you. Some of them do not look familiar to you. The first one, like I said, no personal questions in the chat. It's going to be that personal question. Send it to us by email. The first thing is a passport. All of you have a passport. If you don't have a valid passport, we cannot issue an I-20. You have to have a passport that is valid for 6 months in the future, or we cannot issue the I-20. If your passport is not valid for 6 months into the future, you will not be able to board the plane and you will not be able to enter the United States. All right, so the Border Patrol agent requires you to have a passport that is valid within 6 months of the future. The middle document is the I-20. This is what we will be issuing to you when you have been admitted and you have sent us all of your information for the finances, your passport, and the attestation. Those 3 things we need. When we have that, we are ready to issue the I-20. The I-20 is only issued to your degree program, your major. It is not issued to a concentration or a minor. There are codes. If you look on the major, there is right here, when you look in the major with the area that's in the circle, there's usually the name of the major and then also a SIP code. The SIP code is what's important. And so with some of the graduate majors, especially if you have professional sciences, it always comes out as biomedical, biological, something, and it has sometimes nothing to do with your actual major. It'll say biological and biomedical, but your major is in healthcare informatics. That's okay. It's the code that really is important. So what's happening there is in the state of Tennessee, we're allowed to issue an I-20 only with certain codes that the state of Tennessee has given to MTSU, and we use only those codes. I put that code into SEVIS, and SEVIS pops out with another name. But it's the code that's with your major that's important. So if you have a lot of discrepancy between your major and what you think is on your acceptance letter, it's probably going to be okay. Feel free to email us if you have a concern. Professional science is the one that's going to cause the most problems, the most confusion. But if you're concerned, please let us know, because when you go to the visa interview, they might ask you, why does this say this? What's your major? My major is in healthcare informatics. So why does it say biomedical on your I-20? You need to be able to explain this. So if you have a question, please do reach out to us so we can guide you through that process. They might or may not ask, but you need to know this for your visa interview. The last document is the visa. Some of you have been issued a visa, and please, I'm asking, if you have been issued a visa, send us a copy. Let us know that you have the visa. We can track this through SEVIS, but we do like to know if you have a visa or not. So if you've gotten your visa, please let us know and send us a copy of the visa when you get your passport back from the embassy official. Okay, the two government agencies that we work closely with, one is SEVIS. And if you look on your I-20, it'll say SEVIS, it'll have SEVIS ID. This is the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. There's two sides, one for the F1 students and one for the J students. And so we work on two different sides of this. So this is how the government keeps track of you. So when you are coming to the United States, we issue what we call initial attendance I-20. That is to get you into the border. So after you've come and you've enrolled in classes and you have registered for classes and you are attending, then we issue a new I-20 that is a continuing attendance I-20. So that I-20, the difference is that we've now told SEVIS that yes, you're here, you're registered for classes, you're attending, and all is good. If for some reason we issue one for fall, and let's say you didn't get the visa appointment or you didn't get approved and you're going to defer to spring 2025, then we need to issue you a whole new I-20. Okay, so we need to change the program dates, and that lets SEVIS know that, nope, she didn't come, and so maybe in the spring. But we need to let SEVIS know when you are here on campus and register for classes. If you can remember when you come, we need your local address, we need a local phone number, we need you registered in classes, and we're going to talk about what that looks like a little bit later. And so some of this information will be repeated probably by the time you get here, 8, 9, 10 times. If it is, that means it's really, really important. The second government agency we often work with is USCIS, United States Citizen and Immigration Services. So this is the one that if you are on OPT, some of you might know about OPT, that's our optional practical training. It's the work experience that you can do after you've graduated or before, more preferably after. If you are going to have any changes to your visa, if you're changing your visa status, it has to be approved by USCIS. If you would like to try to get the permission to work off campus after you've been here for a year, again, USCIS is the only organization that can approve you to work off campus. And so generally we say you may not never work off campus until you have come to our office and we have processed permission for you to work off campus. Okay, again, your passport, when you're in the United States, your passport has to be valid at all times. We do not keep track of your passport expiration date. That's up to you to make sure that you check that periodically. If it is going to expire, then you are responsible to reach out to your local embassy or consulate general and start the process of getting your visa renewed. We do not keep track of this. We do not keep track of your visa. We do know when your program end date's on the I-20, but we do not track that and we do not remind you if your program end date is coming up. And again, we will talk about this multiple times when we go through the different webinars, and when we get closer to attendance in July and August, we will talk very specifically about what needs to happen and the rules that you need to follow and what you're responsible for. But the passport, this is your legal document in the United States, has to be valid, the passport. The I-20, so again, we're issuing this to allow you to get a visa appointment. We're issuing this to allow you to enter the United States. This one says initial attendance. So this is for you getting you into the country. This is not after you've registered for classes. So the red part shows your start date and your end date. The end date is very, very, very important. If you go beyond, if you realize, this one is what, May 24? If you realize, let's say, August of 2024, that your I-20 has expired, it's a big problem. This means that the only way to get you back into status is to file for reinstatement with USCIS. So we will tell you over and over and over again to watch your program end dates. It cannot go beyond. If it looks like you're not finishing your program, reach out, let us know. We've got a process in place on how to take care of that. But we cannot monitor this. This is up to you. I usually recommend to the students, pick a day, pick your birthday, and every year check your visa, check your passport, check your I-20. Make sure everything is on track. If it looks like you're not going to graduate, not going to finish, then talk to your advisor, talk to us, and we will walk you through the steps you need to do to get that I-20 program end date changed. Okay, the blue shows your major. This is when we were talking about that zip code, that number that follows your major. If you have questions, let us know. This is all public knowledge. It's all out there on the website, on the internet. Nothing is private, nothing is secretive. Okay, the visa is your permit to enter the United States. You must make sure that when you are traveling and you leave the United States, that this visa is valid for your re-entry, or you will be denied entry into the United States. It is always a good idea to keep it valid. Sometimes they expire when we're in the United States. It's okay. The visa can expire while you're in the United States. The thing to remember is you will not be able to leave and come back into the United States until you have a valid visa. So Border Patrol will stop you. Okay, maintaining legal status. And again, this is going to be something you should have memorized by the time you get here. We will go over it and over it and over it. You must be full-time enrolled every semester. And when I'm talking every semester, I'm talking mainly spring and fall. Those are the two that you are required to be enrolled full-time. Summer is an optional term. And so you can or cannot. You don't have to be enrolled in the summer term. So for undergraduates, you have to be enrolled in 12 credit hours minimum. You have to have 9 of those on campus. Now, if anybody on this call is trying to come for summer, I encourage you, if it's an undergrad, I'm telling you, no, don't come. If it's a grad, you must reach out to your department and ask them, will there be courses on campus for me to take? If you are not enrolled in these on-campus courses, I cannot register you in SEVIS. If we don't register you in SEVIS, your I-20, your SEVIS record will go into completed status and you are illegal in the United States. So when you are not in status, you are collecting unlawful presence in the United States. So this is really, really important. And I have been pushing back on students who have been trying to come in the summer, telling you, you must verify with your department that there will be on-campus classes for you to take so you are in compliance with your SEVIS regulations. If you're not, I have no choice. I cannot register you unless your schedule follows the SEVIS compliant rules. And I have no options but to send you home if you're not in compliance. You must maintain a 2.0 GPA. There are procedures for the university in place. If you go below the 2.0, you are on probation for 1 term. If you have a second semester, you're under the 2.0, you are suspended from the university for 1 semester. Now, as an F1 student, when you're suspended, you are required to go home for that semester. As an F1 student, now, if you're, please, let's mute yourself so we're not having comments. But this is important. If you are suspended as an F1 student, you are not able to be in the United States and not be enrolled in classes. The only time that's allowed is in the summer. So if you are suspended, I will be reaching out to you, telling you that you are required to leave the country, and I need you to send me your flight ticket home. And when I see that you have left the country, I will then terminate your SEVIS record for failure to enroll. When you're ready to come back after suspension, then you will re-enroll in the university. You will resubmit your financial documents, and we will reissue you a brand new SEVIS ID. So this is for you. If you're new, it's not really a huge consequence. It becomes more important as you get closer to wanting to do OPT or CPT. This has larger consequences a little bit later in your career. For graduate students, if you're not having a graduate assistantship, you are required to take 9 credit hours each semester. 6 must be on campus. and you must maintain a 3.0 GPA. So the other thing to remember is the 2 times in summer that you have to be fully enrolled is your first semester. So if you're starting in the summer, I need you to follow these rules. If you're in your final semester, I need you on campus. So those are the 2 semesters, even in the summer, that we have special consequences and special regulations. If you're re-enrolling in the fall and in the spring and you want to hang out in the US for the summer and travel, it's all good as long as you're not going to graduate in August at the end of the summer term. So, and again, if you get confused, if you have a question, Toy and I and Felicia will all explain it to you. It's not a problem. Okay, more in maintaining. You are responsible for maintaining your immigration status. So almost every year I will have a student say, but I didn't know. I didn't know I had to keep my I-20 active. I didn't know I couldn't let it go beyond the program end date. This is why throughout these webinars, we repeat this several times. It is important and you are responsible. We have over 500 students. We cannot keep track of everything for 500 students. So the responsibility is on the student to make sure you are following the rules. Enroll every semester. Again, summer is optional unless it's your first semester or your last semester. Maintain full-time enrollment. So either 12 credit hours for undergrad, 9 for grad. If you have a graduate assistantship, there are different rules. Your assistantship offer letter will tell you what full-time enrollment is. And those students usually reach out to us. Check your travel documents and keep them valid. Immigration regulations, they are serious, so don't panic if you have questions. We are absolutely happy to answer any questions you have. Don't be afraid. And if you say, I don't know, that's not an answer. It's not an answer for us. It's not an answer in class. If you don't know, find out. Find out. Okay, again, I like to make things spin when they're really important. So I had forgotten. Okay, I'm just going to flip through these. I've forgotten I'd done this. Okay, the visa interview. So some of you have already had your visa interview. Some of you have not. A lot of this is just common sense, but we're going to talk about it anyhow. So the average visa interview is short. It's very short, maybe 4 minutes, maybe less, maybe more. It kind of depends on the rapport that you have with that visa officer. Some of them will ask basically no questions at all. Some you'll have a conversation. It just kind of depends. They need to know that you have a command of English, especially if you're coming from a country where English is not your first language. Make sure that you show that visa officer that you understand English, that you will be able to handle the coursework here at the university. You need to know about your academic program. You need to know what you're going to study. You need to know where you're going to study. You need to know where MTSU is, what city is nearby. If they say, where is Middle Tennessee? And you say Murfreesboro, and they say, where's that? And you can say, oh, we're 30 minutes outside of Nashville. That's enough. At least knows that you've done your homework. You know where your university is. Know the program. Know how long it's going to take. Know what kind of courses you're going to take here at the university. All of this information is on the website. Look at your program. Look at the website. They have a whole degree program laid out, so you know exactly what courses you will be taking all 4 years or all 2 years. For the grads, know your minimum requirements for entry. Do you need letters of recommendation? Do you need the GRE? Do you need the GMAT? Know those qualifications. They may or may not ask. And a lot of this is, why do you need to come to the United States? Why can't you do this major in your home country? Why is it important to come to the United States? So that's a big one. Probably the most important one, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, financial documents. Sometimes they will or will not ask you for your financial documents. I've heard both. I've heard that they don't want to see them. I've heard that they do want to see them. The State Department tells us as DSOs that every interview, no matter where you go, is supposed to follow the same format. We know that's probably not the case. Every visa officer, every consulate, every embassy has their own little way of doing things. So you really have to be ready for everything. So I don't repeat what the State Department tells us, because from what I'm hearing from the students, that's not the case. So financial orders, financial documents, carry them with you. Have your offer letter with you. Have your scholarship form with you. If you have a GA-ship, a graduate assistantship, carry that offer letter with you. They may or may not ask for it. They may or may not want to see it. At least have it there. Know about it. Know the conditions. Just be prepared. This is probably the number one reason for denial of a visa, is they think you're going to immigrate to the United States. The F1 visa is an academic student visa. It is not an immigrant visa. You are not coming here to reside in the United States. You're coming here to study only. And your intention is to go back to your home country and use your degree to help your country. This is what they want to know. Now, that being said, they also know this is what they expect you to say. So yes, you want to have a prepared answer. You don't want to have something that sounds too prepared. We would say maybe the company line, something that is just, it doesn't ring true. You want to be honest above all. But they do not want to think or be left with the impression that you are planning to stay in the United States long term. They will deny if they have any indication that you are planning to immigrate to the United States. So this is, and again, I've seen this so many times. This is why they will deny. If they don't have a reason, if they just get a feeling, they can deny. It's totally up to the visa officer at that minute. And remember, 4 minutes is all they've got to make this decision. So really is your responsibility to make sure that you are prepared, and you have to show them, I need this visa. I deserve this visa. The onus is on you. Again, be proactive. It's your responsibility to show that you deserve this visa. Make it easy for them to make a decision. So give them the information they need. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to study. This is my plan. I really want to come back, and I want to help my country develop an agricultural system. That this is what they want. But above all, it has to be truthful. So they know, these people are trained to spot when you're saying something, if it's true or not, if it's authentic or not, if you truly believe this or not. If they feel that you're just saying what they want to hear, they know this. They interview thousands of people. And so they're intuitive and they know what they're looking for. So you want to, above all, be honest and be authentic. Again, be clear you have no plans to immigrate to the United States. If you don't understand the question, have it repeated very politely. I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please? Not say, what? What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Could you repeat the question? Be natural. Remember, you're a student. You're not a businessman. And so you don't want to go in raggedy jeans and holey jeans. You want to dress nice. You want to dress professionally, but you don't need to go out and buy a new dress or a new suit for the visa interview. You want to be comfortable. You want to be natural. You want to be polite, and you don't want to walk into the interview feeling that they owe you. The only way I kind of explain it, I've heard that there have been interviews where the student gets upset when the visa is denied because they feel they are owed the visa. Those are the wrong dynamics to walk into the interview with. That person is the only one who can allow you to enter the United States. The other person who can allow you the enter is the Border Patrol agent at the airport. All your documents can be perfect, but that Border Patrol agent says no, the answer is no. So always remember that when you're passing through the border. The visa record is for life. If you go for a visa interview and your visa is denied, there's a record of that. So even if you go to a different embassy, your visa record spans all across the United States, and every embassy, every consulate has access to your SEVIS record. So I don't see the denials. I only see the approvals. But if it's denied, there's a record. They know that you've been denied. And one denial, it's difficult to get an approval after a denial. So if you're denied, you really have to go back over that conversation and think, what happened? What could I have done better before you go and book another interview? So booking back-to-back interviews without evaluating your previous interview and figuring out what happened is probably not going to be good. So be careful with that if you're planning just to quickly book another one. If you get in trouble, they're going to know it. So I don't know whether they do a background check in your home country. My guess is they do. So if you have a problem, if you've been in trouble in your country, be prepared for a question on that. Be prepared to explain what was going on. If you get in trouble here, if you get out of status in the United States, it doesn't go away. It never goes away. So the visa record is for life. If you get out of status as an F1, and let's say 8 years, 9 years later, you have a great opportunity to get an H-1B or a work visa in the United States. If you have a pattern of visa violations in the past, it will affect that visa, that work visa. So we encourage you to make sure that from the start, you start a SEVIS record, keep it clean. Make sure that you're following the rules. If you're not sure, come and ask us, because we also don't want to see that happen. It's work for you, it's work for us. It's better if we can prevent any problems from happening, but the visa record does not go away. It is not expunged if you're under 18. It's there forever. So remember that, and don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble there. Don't get in trouble here. We've had cases where I have sent students home because they didn't register for classes. I've sent students home because they worked without authorization. We've sent students home because they were expelled from the university. So it happens. And if you're expelled from the university, I cancel and terminate your SEVIS record for a negative cancellation. So there are positive and negative one. And if I do it for an expulsion, it's a very negative. It's very difficult to get another visa after that. So it really is important. It's not something that you want to take lightly, even before you arrive. So, and we will talk again about this many, many times. Okay. So again, reminder, I want to say two things. Number one, all questions are going in the chat. Number two, if you have a personal statement that is pending, please be patient. The committee has met and we're processing those this week. No personal questions of when am I going to get my visa? When will I be accepted to the university? What documents do I need to submit? Those are questions that need to be sent to us by email. The questions we're taking are just on what we covered today in the webinar, dealing with the visa interview, immigration, your basic knowledge of what you need to do when you get here in terms of enrollment. Okay, with all of that, any questions? I have a question. Okay, ask your question, Raquel.
Hello.
No. Put it in the chat, sweetie.
In the chat. Okay.
Yes, please.
Just a minute.
I will read them out loud when they come up in the chat. I have one, I'm living in the United States, but with a visa from my parents. Do I need to obtain a student visa? If you, yeah, that you need to email Toy and I about. It depends on the visa. If you are on an L or a H4, no, probably. Again, those two visas you age out of when you're 21. So yes, with a possible no, probably no with a possible yes if you're approaching 21. But basically, if you have another visa type, if you're on one from a parent, you're probably on a visa that's going to allow you to study. We don't need the finances. I just need your passport with that visa. Okay. Ooh. I have a question. I have an acceptance letter and a valid visiting visa. I'm planning to enter the United States. Okay. Okay. Reason is because of rejection rate. Okay. Technically, you're on a visitor's visa. You are not supposed to study in the United States at the university level. This is a condition of the B visa. You are not supposed to be studying at the university level on this visa. Now, you're still going to have to submit the documents for the I-20 to our office. If you have to have the acceptance letter, which you said you have, you're still going to have to submit the passport. You're going to have to submit the expenses, the finances, and the attestation. When I have that, then we can issue you an F1 I-20. After that, you are responsible for your application to USCIS. We do not submit applications for a change of status. So, but do remember that technically you are not supposed to be studying on a B visa. It is a condition of the B visa that you can study at high school, but you may not study at the university. So my point is one of the conditions of changing status is you have not violated your current visa status. So my job is to warn you. What you choose to do is your choice. Just know that technically you are not following the visa status you should be. If your I-20 is expired, for example, if we issued you an I-20 for spring 2024, and you have not emailed us about deferring to fall 2024, you need to do that. The first step is to email us and say, I want to defer my admissions to fall 2024. If your finances are within 6 months of today, then we will be able to update the program dates on your I-20. Actually, we can't do that. We have to issue a new I-20. If your finances are older than 6 months, we need new finances. So finances can only be 6 months overdue before we need new finances. So it kind of depends on look. So look back and see when you submitted your finances, we may need new finances before we can move forward. But you still need to start with an email telling us clearly what semester you want to enter, not just I want to defer. We need to know what semester you're going to come. Okay, this is a question about proof of funding for the visa and having a GA-ship, a graduate assistantship. Okay, so I'm hearing that the graduate assistantships, yeah, it could be. Some of them have been awarded. A lot of GA-ships have been awarded. Some of them have yet not to be awarded. Some departments won't make a decision until they also know if when they choose one student, the student is not able to get a visa, then they will choose another student. So yes, the deadline might get into July. So the question is, I'm getting very close to the beginning of classes, so mid-July, and I don't know yet if I'm going to have a GA-ship. And can I go ahead if I wait? Am I going to be too late? So I would suggest, if possible, to give us the total financial package, the $36,500. let us issue the I-20. If you get a graduate assistantship, send us the offer letter. We will calculate the value of the graduate assistantship, and then we will modify the I-20, but at least you have the I-20 to get the visa appointment. But we cannot wait. If you wait, then you run the risk of not being able to get an appointment. So that's one of those, that's really a your choice kind of thing. Okay, the yearly cost of housing on campus, it's going to be around, I would say between 3,000 and 4,000 without the meal plan. Again, go to the website. Housing very clearly lays out, depending on what dorm you're in, if you have a single, or if you're sharing a room, if you have an apartment with 4 people, it depends. The cost changes depending on the type of housing you choose. But go to the website under housing. They have a whole bunch of information. Okay. Good morning. I have a question. How to answer the visa officer in the I-20 biological and biomedical sciences? Okay. What is the major? Know your major. So if your major is information systems or healthcare informatics, know your major. Know that the code, the number, the SIP code is what's important. Okay. The SIP code is what determines if you are going to be STEM eligible or not. The SIP code is going to be the same for the state of Tennessee as what's in SEVIS. The name that they call it is different. We will call it healthcare informatics. SEVIS calls it biological and biomedical. SEVIS is not going to change. We don't have the power to change SEVIS. So we just have to make sure that you understand that this is one and the same SIP code. Your major here at MTSU, you will study whatever your major is on your offer letter. The SIP code is probably one of those majors that's relatively new, and SEVIS has not adapted to the new name. And so they choose that, what is like 1599999. They choose that major to cover everything that comes under that. So yeah, we have a letter actually that we can give you if you email us. Okay, if you've received a denial, and I've had a student to come back from 3 denials and get approved, so it is possible. It is not easy. I would make sure you really need to know why. So generally the visa officer will have to give you a reason, even if it's in a letter that you get later on. It's probably a very generic, number one, you didn't prove that you were coming back to the United States, so you didn't prove ties to your home country. If that's the case, then you need to make sure that your answers to those questions are fixed. Sometimes I think it is English ability. And I think the student that I had is when his English improved, then he was approved for the visa. You really need to know why you were denied. And sometimes it's just the visa officer is having a bad day. It can be something as simple as that. Not supposed to happen, but they're human. They get things wrong. They have a bad day. They have a fight with their spouse. It happens. So remember that they are human. And so I would encourage you to try again, but make sure you know what went wrong the first time. Okay, the USCIS, it's like way at the beginning. Remember, USCIS is the United States citizen coming. There we go. Okay, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. This is the government agency. We work with them, but they are their own entity. They will talk to us, but you can't really talk to them. There's a chat, but we have no sway with them. They are going to approve your visa. So if a student is on an H-4 visa, They have a parent that's working in the United States. When they hit the age of 21, they can no longer stay under their parent's visa. They have to age over to an F1 visa. They can do that in the United States. USCIS is going to approve that. So you submit an application with them. They have online applications. Takes maybe 2 to 3 months to get an approval. We have absolutely no control over them at all. No sway, no contact, nothing. SEVIS, I have contact with. USCIS, no, they don't talk to us. We don't talk to visa interview. We don't talk to embassies. We don't talk to consulate generals. We don't write emails for students to try to get a visa or a visa appointment. This can go both ways. And we have spoken when we go to conferences, the State Department has said, and the State Department runs your consulates and your embassies, that they can take a negative view if a student presents a letter from a DSO. It looks like you're trying to get preference, and it can have a negative effect. So we err on the side that we do not issue letters for visa interviews, for visa approvals. We've decided we're not going to do that. How can I register for classes after the visa renewal? If you're an undergrad student, you are not going to be able to register until you have followed some of the other steps. So our next webinar, I believe, is on housing. And then we're going to be talking about next steps. And that's specifically for our undergraduate students who need to have certain steps that they are going to need to follow before they can meet with their academic advisor. You cannot register for classes until you've met with your academic advisor. At the grad level, you pretty much, once you've been approved, and right now registration is open, I encourage you to reach out to your department so you know what classes you need to take, but you're able to register. So it's a little different systems on the grad and undergrad. What is the cost? I'm going, if you want to know the cost, go to the MTSU website. MT One Stop has a great PDF, all broken down, how much for 1 semester, how much for 12. Everything is all broken down. The MTSU website is going to be your first and last stop for information. Everything is there. You just have to go look for it. So we will often, if you ask us how much does it cost, we're going to send you the link. We're not going to give you a specific answer. We're expecting you as a up and coming college student to go find your answers and do your homework. This is really, really important in American culture, to be able to find your own answer and answer your own questions. Next one, how long can I defer my I-20? It kind of depends. You can continue to defer or resubmit applications. We're going to make a switch to going to require students to submit an application again. It does not mean you need to pay again. It just means that you're starting over, so we can get new finances. My major is professional computer science concentration, and in the I-20 is this will, again, I'm not specifically sure. Most of the computer sciences are going to be, say, computer sciences, I believe. There are so many majors, I don't know for sure exactly what it's going to say on the I-20. Can you provide us with the email direction? Which email direction are we asking? Our emails are on the website. All of us on this call are on the website. If you go to our website, you'll recognize our pictures. We are on the website. Our contact information will soon be on the website with a QR code that you can even make a Zoom interview, a Zoom meeting with us, or you can email us. We do ask that you follow the appointment hours of walk-in and when creating an appointment. I've received the Form I-20. How should I proceed? I encourage you to go out to the embassy where you're going to get your visa interview. Every embassy or consulate has on their website exactly the steps that you need to follow. in order to get your visa. It generally starts with the DS-160, the visa application. But go to the embassy or consulate general where you're going to get your visa appointment and follow their directions. Is it mandatory to be on campus for the first 6 months? No, if you want to start online, you can. Okay, yeah. If you want to start online, you can. It is absolutely fine for you to start online and then transition to an on-campus student. One thing to remember, though, that the scholarship does not feed through if you're not on campus. You need to read through each one of those points on the acceptance form, and one of them is you must be lawfully present in the United States or the scholarship was not feed through. This question about the 10K, the 12K and 16K, this came in the morning in my email. I will get back to you. That's a question that I don't want to answer on the webinar. I'm studying in high school in the United States. Will I still be an international student? If you are not a US citizen or have permanent residency in the United States or have had visa status or refugee status granted, yes, you will be an international student and you will be processed by our office. Where can I get additional information on I-20, like if the course names are different? You need to email Toy and I, and we will send you a letter that will explain it to you. Will professional questions about your discipline be asked at the interview for graduate students? I would expect, yes. I would expect to be able to answer questions of what will you study? What kind of job does this major have? Those kinds of questions, yes, you need to know professional questions. They're not going to ask the details unless, of course, you happen to have a visa officer who really knows your major, but they're not going to be trick questions. It will be more of a friendly conversation of a mutual interest. Can one book housing while the process of applying and not been accepted? I would encourage you to, yes, I would very much encourage you to apply for housing. I believe housing is getting full. From what I'm hearing, anybody applying now is on a wait list. But again, this is still very early, so many students will reserve housing, but will then not come or be denied a visa or decide to live off campus. And so rooms will continually open up. But yes, you should apply. You should get on the waiting list. And then if it looks like you're not going to get approved for a visa, then reach out to them because they are very, very reasonable, even about the deposit. But I do encourage you, get on the wait list, get started. You don't need to pay to be on the wait list. You're just waitlisted. Okay. If my study time for my biology program is 4 years, can I make them in 3 or 2? That's between you and your academic advisor. You can do it in 3 if you study in the summer. The scholarship does not apply in the summer. If 2 is going to be pretty tough, I would first make sure you can do the academics. When you get here, talk to your academic advisor. They can put you on a path to finish early, as long as you can handle it academically and you stay within that 3.0 or that 2.0. If you're getting the scholarship, you need to have a 3.0 or you might lose the scholarship. Below a 2 point, and we talked about you being suspended or put on probation from the university. So when you start getting a heavy course load, you need to make sure that you can do the work before you take on the heavy course load. Please provide a link for the complete information about the MTSU visa interview questions. We're going to have this webinar online. There is information out there on the website. I don't know the link. Again, I encourage you to go out and explore the MTSU website and find the information. Ours is going to be very generic. It's very general. There are no specific instructions for MTSU. Everybody has the same playing field when you're going for your visa interview. Okay, apart from the I-20, does the school provide any letter of proof of a GTA? You should have, if you have a GTA, you should have an offer letter from the department spelling out the conditions of what's covered, what's not covered, how many hours will you need to enroll in, is there a stipend? You should have a very specific letter from the department when you're given the GA-ship or the GTA-ship. So you need to have that. The university, the department will provide, you give it to us, we're going to calculate the value. Is there any exam for the GA in a university? No, there's no exam, but there is an application on the Graduate Studies website that you can go to and send in the application. You need to remember that graduate assistantships and graduate teaching assistantships are very, very competitive. And so for every, what was it, Felicia, two GA ships, 30 applicants. And it's very, very competitive. So be ready to possibly not get one. Have a plan B for paying for university. The recommenders have not received the recommendation letter. And again, I have not received the admissions letter. Okay. Felicia, do you have anything to add? I mean, I would go to the portal if they're.
Yeah, so for graduate students, it's really important that you guys are monitoring your portal. All your information's there. Anything that we get goes into the portal that's related to your application. That portal is your lifeline. You're going to get information there before you can probably contact one of us. So I highly recommend you are very proactive in your portal. As far as letters of recommendation, when you fill out your application, if that program requires letters of recommendation, then there will be a link there that you can send the invite to the recommender. If the program doesn't require letters of recommendation, there's not going to be anywhere on the portal to upload that. If you want to submit supplemental documents to maybe bolster your application, send that directly to the department. We cannot process that here because we don't have anywhere to process it. It's not a requirement for admission, so we don't need it. So if it's not on your portal as a requirement, please reach out to your program and see if they want it. They may not, if they have hundreds of applicants and letters of reference aren't required, they don't have time to read, letters of references. That's why they don't ask for them. So if you have documents that you want to submit in addition to what's required, please submit those directly to the department. But that portal is, I'm telling you, it's your lifeline. That's where you're going to find information, like I say, way before you'll probably get in touch with one of us. So that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, so kind of along that line too, at the end of May, we're going to be starting a brand new system. So I'm anticipating the application is going to look different. So at the end of May, give us some time because it's a completely different system. It's going to give our undergraduate students also a portal to where they can upload documents and things. Not everything can be uploaded, like Felicia said. If there's no link, you can't upload it. Test scores, you can't do. Transcripts, you cannot upload those. So there's no link. So the portal for the grads right now is the only thing. And if it doesn't update the minute you send a document, it's okay. It's a system. It takes a few days for all this stuff to feed through our systems. So we're asking for a little bit of patience. And at the end of May, we're asking for a lot of grace. When we switch over to this new system, we don't know what's going to happen. They're working really, really hard to make sure it's a smooth transition. But when technology is involved, things happen. So fingers crossed it goes well. Okay, can I register my classes without getting an I-20? Can I proceed with a visa without an I-20? No, you cannot proceed with a visa without the I-20. You can probably register for classes without getting your I-20. No, probably not. Well, yes, technically you could. At graduate level, if you get accepted, technically you could register for classes without sending your finances, but you won't get an I-20. You won't get here without getting the I-20. If you're interested in enrolling on online classes, then yes, you can get registered before you get the I-20 because you will not be entering the United States. So there's a yes and no to that. Can the resumption term be changed to the following term if an international student is unable to meet up with the fall deadline? Absolutely. Again, that's called the deferral. And you need to make sure and you sending those to us. Am I going the wrong direction? No, I don't think so. To send us explicitly undergrad, you're going to send us an email. Grad, there's a form. There's a form on the graduate website under forms. Scroll down, change of term, change of program. If you want to change your term as a graduate student, you need to submit that form to the email that's on the bottom of the form. If you're an undergrad, email us telling me especially which semester you want to join us, that you're not able to join us for fall 2024. Okay. The same question about making it 2 years. Make sure you get your academics. If you can, you set up your own schedule. The 12 hours, typically a major is 120 hours for the undergrad students. That's basically taking 12 hours for 8 terms. If you go faster than that, you enroll in the summer, then you're going to finish faster than 4 years. If you do a double major, if you try to do an additional minor, it's going to take you more than 4 years. So this is totally up to you. This is something you discuss with your academic advisor and your program directors when you get here or before you get here. Will my visa be approved if I'm coming with dependents? And I have, yeah, you can have all of your financial documents. This is really one of those that I don't know. I've had students who get approved because they're not coming with dependents. I have students who get approved when they're coming with dependents. I would be open to the option of maybe coming alone first or trying with your dependents with you when you initially come. Doesn't work, get denied, maybe try it alone and bring your dependents later. It can go both ways. And I think that's conditional upon the country. And they think, to me, that maybe lean a little bit more towards immigration intent. But that's really your choice. Will a major be on the I-20? Your major will be on the I-20, not the concentration. We do not issue I-20s to the concentration, and that's why some of the majors, the concentration may be information systems, but the major is biological and biomedical. Okay, so it's only issued to the major, not the concentration, not the minor. I applied for the PhD program in computational data science. I got accepted, but haven't received the I-20. Okay. If you haven't received the I-20, first of all, your first question from us is going to be, do we have a passport? Do we have an attestation? Do we have a bank statement? If we don't have those and all 3 of those, we cannot and will not issue the I-20. We are required by law to make sure that we have a passport, you have been admitted, you have English proficiency, and you have the funds for 1 year, 1 academic school year. If we don't have that, we are legally bound to not issue the I-20. The I-20 is a legal document. Our signature is on that document. I'm not issuing an I-20 until I'm sure I have everything that I need to legally issue that I-20. If you have given us all of these documents and funding is sufficient, then the I-20 will be coming. And if you have a question, please email us and say, hey, I'm ready for an I-20. And we'll say, okay, great. My bad. You kind of fell through the cracks or the email got pushed down because we get hundreds of emails. All 3 of us, I have no idea how many we get because we're each monitoring 2 email boxes. And so we switch back and forth all day to try to monitor both email boxes. So yeah, it's a lot. We're a little short-staffed right now. Okay, Tony, I think I've answered your question. Did you hear my answer? Okay, scholarships, yes. I do want to say about scholarships, they're totally dependent on your GPA. And if you have gotten a scholarship acceptance form and you have not returned it, please, please, please return it, because when we start running out of funds, we will stop issuing I-20s. And if you have not returned your form when we run out of funds, you will not get the scholarship, even if you've received the acceptance form. You have to return it back to us. And if you read the last sentence on that form, it says your return date will determine whether you are eligible for the scholarship or not. So it is likely we will run out of money. If you have not returned the scholarship form yet, please do this as quickly as you can, even if you have not made up your mind, even if you have not gotten approved for the visa, get those forms back to us. Okay. Apply for housing. You're going to apply for housing through the housing website. Go to the MTSU, go to A to Z, look for H, and look for housing. That's the housing website. Yeah, I would again start making your housing, your reservations now. There is a wait list for housing, so go. I'm not going to put the link. We're not going to put it in the chat. You need to go to the MTSU website and find the department for housing. There's a very clear A to Z area on the website. Go to H, look for housing, and you will find it. Questions about housing need to be addressed and given to the housing department. They prefer to deal with the students directly, not through our office. Things get lost when we have a third party involved. So if you're thinking of housing, you need to do that with housing. Okay, can you please explain again how an undergraduate student's admissions? I actually got confused. Okay, it's confusing. We get confused all the time. First thing is that high school transcripts. We need 4 years of high school transcripts for undergrad coming from high school. We need English proficiency. Those are the two things I need. If you're coming from a country who English is one of your native languages and we don't need English proficiency, I just need 4 years of high school transcripts. They have to come from your school. If you send it to me, doesn't count. If your agent sends it to me, doesn't count. Only from the school. When I have that and I have English proficiency, then I'm ready to move forward and make a decision on acceptance or not. And again, you have to give us grace because we are short-staffed and we get a lot of applications. We had roughly 1,200 apps as of last Wednesday. So we get a lot and we're trying to feed through these as quickly as we can. Also on the website, under International Affairs, undergrad, it gives a very clear list of exactly what we need. Again, the website's your best friend. My visa got denied last spring and I deferred this fall, hoping to get a graduate assistantship, but I haven't. Again, you can get a graduate assistantship, but they are very, very competitive. And I'm thinking a lot of the departments have already made the decision. Please still apply, reach out to your department, ask if there's one available. There may be a situation where a student has been offered a GA-ship, but they didn't get their visa. So openings will come throughout the summer. You really need to be proactive and keep your application, keep your name foremost in their line without being bothersome. So just a very gentle once or so, any GA-ships, any updates, not every day, not every 2 days, because that it gets to be borderline irritating and we don't have an answer by the next day. We do not do GA-ships in our office. The departments do those. And so we cannot give you a GA-ship. We cannot help. We cannot influence. The departments do this on their own. Okay, according to the website, me getting an A in the subject is directly related to my major. I should get 16. Okay, we're confusing a couple of things there. But on okay, and again, if you have a conflicting information of what you think you should get and the scholarship you were awarded, this is something that needs to come to us by email. I cannot judge because I don't know what your GPA was, either on your high school transcripts or your evaluated transcripts. I'm not going to answer that question. That's something that you need to email us, and then we can address it. GP based on scholarships only accessible to undergrads. No, the GPA based scholarships, they're accessible to both grad and undergrad. So, and the criteria is the same. It's on the website. It's been updated to the new amounts and the new criteria. Oh, wrong way. Okay, could you please tell me the fall semester starting dates? August 28th is the first day of classes for fall term. The week before, we are having our orientation week. What you also need to remember is our formal international orientation that is required by all students coming on an F1 visa. Information will be forthcoming for that. How long does it take a student to get the I-20 forms after submitting all necessary documents to you? When we have all of the documents and the documents have been evaluated, we will issue the I-20s. Honestly, we are working as fast as we can on this. Toy and I didn't leave until what, 6:30 last night. So we are working. I know Felicia was probably here late too. We all three stay. We work until we can get the work done, and then our families start calling us and saying, "Where are you?" So yeah, we're working as fast as we can. I've submitted all the documents to my previous university, sent you an electronic copy of the transcript, and unfortunately you haven't received the transcript from the university. Wait a minute. If you're a grad or even an undergrad and the university is in your home country, you can try to send it to us, but remember all university work outside the US needs to be evaluated. So if you send us the transcripts and you're not hearing from us, it's because we don't have the evaluation. And we sent that bounce back email to everybody who applies telling you we need the evaluated transcripts. And so it really becomes, and this is always a little bit of a test. Can you follow directions that we are giving you? Because if you come and you don't follow the directions that the professors give you for any of your individual classes, you will fail the course. University in America, they do not remind you of what needs to be done. It's on you to make sure that you turn your assignments in, you read what you need to read, you do your reports. The professors will not be reminding you. So this we take as an opportunity of getting you ready for university. Yeah, if you have not gotten them evaluated, get your transcripts evaluated, read the letter, read the website, see what's required of you. Okay, you're right. You cannot get accepted. If you cannot do housing until you've been accepted. So if you've not been accepted, then you need to make sure that we have everything we have, all of the documents that we have. If we don't, then no, you've not been accepted. And you can even reach out to us and say, you know, what am I missing? And we will tell you what you're missing. Okay. Can the I-20 end before we receive an answer from you? I'm not sure what that means. I-20 end before we receive it. Lena, email me. Yeah, email me. You have a couple of things going on that we need to deal with. Okay, Lena, you email me. Good afternoon from here. I received my I-20. So do I need to scan back? Oh, you listened. Yes, technically you should be emailing back a signed I-20 to me. If you don't, we will get that from you when you come. So we need to have that in our records, a signed I-20. That is your agreement. Also, before you sign that I-20, make sure that you read page 3, because page 3 gives you all the responsibilities that you need to follow. When you sign it, you're telling us that you read page 3, you understand it, and you agree to all the conditions. So yeah, don't sign it unless you've read page 3. My admissions got confirmed. I also received email a few minutes ago. You explained about the summer good summer condition, that thing I can't understand. Okay, again, for summer, I'm getting confused. If you're responding to questions, I'm probably not gonna see it. If you, so the thing about summer, remember I was saying, if it's your first term or your last term, you have to be fully enrolled. I need you in on-campus classes. Here at MTSU, 90% of our summer courses are online. There are very few. Even at the undergrad level, it's very difficult to get a full schedule of on-campus classes. At the graduate level, it's even more difficult. So when I push back about you coming in the summer, it's because I don't want to have you in a situation to where you are not able to get the classes that you need, and I have to send you home. This is what I don't want at all costs. It's heartbreaking to send you home when you've just paid for a ticket here. So that's my reason for making sure that you are understanding the summer requirements. Okay, I think I'm okay. The financial support form, same thing as a bank statement. Yes, there's actually two parts. One is a bank statement, the other one is an attestation. It's an MTSU attestation form promising that you will pay for university for the entire time that you are enrolled here at MTSU. So remember, there's 3 documents that we need for the I-20. The passport, the bank statement, the financial attestation form. We need all 3 of those. I got an MTSU International Scholarship, but I noticed that I cannot accept a GA scholarship. You only need 1. If you have a graduate assistantship, you will not be awarded the International Merit Scholarship. You need to choose which one you want, and kind of decide, is a full GA-ship, usually it's a better deal, but we're not going to make that decision for you. You need to do the math and figure out which one do you want. Good afternoon. My application status has been pending review for about 2 weeks. Yes, that's possible. What we do, we collect the documents. Felicia collects everything. She processes it as soon as it comes in. It goes to the department. From then it's out of our hand. We wait for the department to meet, to decide, to discuss. Then they send back, accept or denied. Felicia puts that in, and then your portal is updated. If it says it's pending with the department. We have absolutely nothing we can do about that. So yes, and this is where that portal, what Felicia said, the portal, it's your best friend if you're a grad student. And so you keep checking the portal. Okay, regarding the scholarship, do we need to send an email regarding accepting the admissions as well as the scholarship even after the I-20? If you have not sent back the International Merit Scholarship acceptance form with initials under each item, if you just sent it and signed it, I'm sending it back to you. I need you to put your initials, the first letter of your first name, the first letter of your last name in each point. So I know that you read it. And so if you come to me and say, I didn't know it was only for my out-of-state fees, I'm going to say, then you did not read the conditions before you signed it, and you never read anything that you haven't signed. So yes, send it back to me after you have initialed each point and signed it at the bottom. And then get it back to us so we can give you and put you on the list. Can you come again with the explanation of the signed I-20? When you get the I-20, you have either Toy's signature, Felicia's signature, or my signature. You need to sign it, scan it back to us. That is our understanding that you read page 3, you understand the conditions of the F1 visa, and you agree to follow them. So you can do it now. If you don't do it now, we're going to collect that from you when you arrive. And we'll talk again about this when we do the orientation later on in the summer. Okay, again, the question, if you got submitted documents and it looks like we haven't received them, then probably you are going to need to check your portal, give it some time, or make sure that you have submitted the evaluated transcripts if that's what we're needing. How do I get the financial support form? If there is a link on the website, and usually I know Toy and Felicia send it out, probably more Toy now, sends it out when she's asking, when a student undergrad has been accepted, or the grad, she sends an email giving you all the documents that we need for the I-20. The attestation form is attached to that. There is also a link out on the website, both for grad and undergrad, for the financial statement and for the attestation. Do I need to show proof of the scholarship? You don't need to. You can add it to the form on the attestation. There is an area there for the scholarship, but we all have our own records of what the scholarship you've been awarded. Okay, I've submitted the International Merit Scholarship form and my I-20 in the finance section of the scholarship granted. However, I haven't received a scholarship confirmation letter. Okay, if you haven't gotten it and you're an undergrad, we are getting to that. So there's two things also. Remember, our scholarship is only for F1 students. If you're here on an EAD, if you're here on an L visa or an H4 visa, you are not awarded the scholarship. It's only for our F1 students. So make sure that maybe you don't qualify. If you are here under an employment authorization document, you will not receive a scholarship because you don't qualify. You're not under the F1 visa. It's only open to the F1 visa. Okay. Does the university provide a scholarship letter that can present it at the visa interview? No, we do not provide a letter. Your scholarship form is proof. It's also on your I-20 as part of your finances. If it's not, and again, I have about the people who have been admitted in the past 3 days have not received their scholarship forms because they haven't been sent yet. And so we're going to get those out hopefully today or tomorrow. But then it's been quite a bunch of them we've been admitting. So give us some time to get those back to you. Do I have to scan the acceptance form and email it back to you? Yes, please, and initial. If you did not add your initials, if you just a check mark, I probably accepted it. If it was blank and then signed, I sent it back to you. So make sure you're checking your email, because if it's just blank, no check marks, no nothing on each point, and you sign the bottom, I sent it back to you. If you put an X, I probably accepted it. It's good. You're in the line. But make sure you're checking to see if we didn't send it back to you. And if you haven't, please, please, please do send it back. Our application is open for fall 2024. Yes. Technically, July 1st is our document deadline. Now, given some of the visa wait times, July 1st is probably going to be late. But we will accept applications as long as we can. Then the visa into becomes a bigger issue than getting the application in. Okay. No questions. All right. I see 4 questions in the Q&A, but they're not in the chat. Okay. Yes, the Zoom is this is being recorded, and we will get it out on the website. So the partner deadlines, if you have any questions, grad or undergrad, go to your department, go to the website. If you're in computer science, look up computer science and make sure that you are following, because they very clearly lay it out. This is exactly the course you will be studying. If you're a grad, very clearly laid out what is required for you to gain admissions into the program. Doesn't guarantee, but everything is there. You need to learn to read the website. And again, if you email us, we will send you the link. We're not going to be answering long emails. when you can find the information on the website. This is really, really good practice because professors will not give you detailed answers when you can find the answer in readings or on D2L or another platform. So please make sure you're trying to do your work first before you ask us. The scholarship, somebody's asking how to apply. Your scholarships are automatically awarded when you get accepted, totally based on your GPA. Okay, the minimum GPA and the steps, the levels of the amounts are on the website. In international affairs, both grad and undergrad have the information there under the scholarship tabs. Okay, again, yeah, my email is on the website. Look for the pictures. I haven't changed that much. We all look pretty much the same. So make sure that you are emailing us, but before you email us, please look for the information on the website, because it is a really good habit to get into, to try to find your own answers rather than making us answer your questions, because more and more with 1,000 apps, we cannot answer every question that comes in. We will send you the link and refer you to the website if the answer is on the website, and 90% of them are on the website. If you can choose a minor, yes, minors are generally chosen when you get and you talk to your academic advisors. So don't worry too much about that. You'll have a chance to meet with your academic advisors and add a minor at the beginning, second term. Yeah, you will all be assigned an academic advisor when you're accepted and you decide to come. Okay, we've been here for almost an hour and a half, so I'd really like to cut it and get this stopped so we can get on to other things. And some of you need to go to bed. It's probably getting a little bit late for you. So our second one, remind me of the date, Matthew, we have a date, right?
Yes, it'll be next Friday, April 26th.
And our topic?
Housing on and off campus.
Okay, great. So all of you who have questions about housing, please join us next Friday. We will be sending information out again by social media and email. All right, thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying awake. Thank you for getting up early, whatever the case may be, wherever you are. We really hope to see you in August on campus, but we also want you to join our webinars and just stay in touch with us. We're having them every week, alternating Tuesdays and Fridays. And so there's always going to be something more to learn. And sometimes we'll have our graduate assistants and our one undergrad office worker joining us because they know it better than we do. All right, so thank you for joining us. Please join us again next Friday. We will see you on campus in August. But thank you so much, everyone.